Hey everybody, okay, here we go with Dreamweaver. And Dreamweaver is quite easy, really. It's just a placeholder program to hold pictures and text in order to create a web page. I've launched Dreamweaver. I'm working with Dreamweaver CS4 here. And I'm just going to say File and New, blank page, just whatever comes up with HTML blank page, create. And here's your basic blank page. The first thing I want to do is go and set up the workspace from the defaulting designer to classic. This is where I do my work here in classic mode, and it's changed the layout of what's available. And the only real window that I need open is the properties window for me to put in my links down here. So I've created a blank white page, and notice there's a blinking cursor in the upper left hand corner. Now you could just paste text into this, save it, and you'd have a basic boring white page web page with text on it. So to give it a little more structure and design, what we want to do is create frames in order to put content into. So when I'm clicking on the Layout tab here with the Classic mode on, I can click this Create a New Frame button and click and drag out a frame. And notice I have a blinking cursor in here. And I'm just going to set up a basic website where I have my name here, a vertical line coming down this way, and 4 links on the left here. And that's what we're required to do for class. So let me get started and set up all these things. So I'm going to click for a new box and click and drag it here. And let's set up a few side boxes for navigation. There's my home button, an about button, a gallery button, or a resume button, and then a gallery button. So these frames are going to hold the content. So that's step 2, is that we need to create the content. Content will exist in a frame in here. We'll, like I said, keep it very simple. So I want to go into Photoshop. Let me get rid of Dreamweaver, and here's Photoshop. And create content. Oh, let's set up the basics of the page too. Instead of it being plain white, why don't we just give it a gray color? So we give it properties here with Modify, Page Properties, and the top is Appearance. And here's where we set up the fonts. So I'm going to use a sans serif font, and I'm going to set up large. And the text color, I'm going to have a medium gray background, so I'm going to have the text color be white. And the background color, I'm going to give it this gray. It's the 3rd box down here. And OK to that. Good. So that's the basics. Now let's create some buttons. The home, about, resume, and gallery, and my name, and a vertical bar here. So over to Photoshop. Let's say what color is this too. So I need to do a screenshot. I'm going to use my snipping tool, which is hiding down here in my taskbar. You can type snip from any search, but I'm just snipping out this color and saving it to the desktop, or actually in my pictures library in this case. Why not? Well, I know why not, because we want to save everything for our website to one space right now. So save it to the desktop. And let's see, OK, save. Get rid of that. And now we can get rid of Dreamweaver, and we're going to say File, Open, Desktop. I've got too much on this desktop, unfortunately. So this is called Capture. And I did that because I want to pick up this gray, exactly this gray, to make my buttons. It makes life a lot easier. So I'm using 5th tool down on the left here, 6th tool, the eyedropper, you click on the gray, and it sets the gray as a foreground color. And here we go. I just clicked to consolidate my tools. So here's the gray as a foreground color. And now I want to say File New. And I'll say OK to this random file. I want to set actually my resolution to 96 dpi, which is the resolution of an LCD monitor. And taking my paint bucket, it's hiding under the gradient tool if you don't see it. I'm just filling gray into the new blank document. Then taking the type tool and putting white in the foreground. And I'll use Arial. Regular 24 point. And just start typing 4 buttons. Home, I'll do all caps. And I just hit a carriage return here. Home, about, gallery, and resume. I want these to be stretched a little bit. Right here. Oops, give it about 36. No, too much. 30. Okay. Okay, so next I want to layer flatten image, so it's all on one background layer. And now I'm clicking with my marquee tool, and I'm saying just around the button I want to make, and I'm saying Control C to copy it, Control N to create a new file and paste it, and save as. Always save as JPEG and call it home. And make it all lowercase for your file names also. And make sure it's a JPEG. I would like to create a folder that I can find it better than on my messy desktop, but I'll just put it here for now and save it at 7 or 8 to make it real small. Good. And next we'll go back to the first one and move this down to about, Control C, Control N, Control V. Control E will bring the layers together. Shift Control S is the shortcut, and I can go right to the saving it as a JPEG, and that's called About. JPEG, Desktop, 7, and rinse and repeat here. I'm going to re-click around Gallery because it's a little wider. Control C, Control N, Control V, Control E to flatten it down, Shift Control S and call it About. Nope, it's Gallery. And where is this? Right here. Okay. Move this down. Control C, Control N, Control V, Control E to flatten it. Shift Control S and name it Resume. JPEG it. Okay, and then back to this first file. Where is that? Cancel. Right here. I'm going to just fill the gray back in here. That's Edit Fill. Foreground, deselect, and this time just type my name in a larger size. Oops. So 60 point. all caps. And it's gray on gray because I left it gray here. So just click up in this options color here and select white. A little large, so I'm going down to 48 point. And okay. Oops. We'll stretch it a little bit. So here we go. Right up here in the top, when you're in the Type tool, is the Character tab. And this is the kerning here to stretch it a little wider. And that'll probably work out okay. If I want to bevel and emboss this, I can use the Effects button here and just choose Bevel and Emboss. And 5 pixels size is a little bit big. I'm going to make it 2 pixels and maybe 60% here. And so I don't save such a big file, I'm going to again crop this one down. Enter and save as, file save as, name. Oops, lowercase. And JPEG it. Remember to JPEG. If it isn't flat, it's going to try to force it into a PSD. See there, I had a couple of layers. I could have flattened it here, but I didn't, so I'll just save it as a JPEG 7 and OK. Good. Now back to Dreamweaver, and let's start placing these elements in here. So here's name. So I click on the Common tab now, and this is the icon for inserting images. Click that. And I have to browse out to the desktop and find my images. So About is here, and Name. Okay, and this is going to be Home. I'm working with a smaller screen because of the movie. I can't, if I made a big screen, then it would take up a huge amount of bandwidth to create the movie, so I'm going to keep it small here. So it's harder to see everything, but so what? Okay, let's see. About. And gallery and resume, so that's what I'm looking for now, gallery. And resume. Make sure you have the cursor blinking inside the box. You can nudge these and align them with the arrow key when they're highlighted. So I'm going to align the edge of the E with the Y, right justify everything. And bring that down. The T, align that. That's come over a little bit. Oops. Okay. And okay, then file save as your home page. Save as index. Call it index, INDEX .html. And I'm not wanting to save this in my own real website. I don't want to wipe out my own real home page, so I'm going to put it back on the desktop. Excuse me. Okay, and I need a vertical line in here. Let me just make that, and then we'll end this video, and then we'll move on to creating specific pages and working out how the links work. So let me minimize this, and one more file, new. I'm going to make a vertical line, so I'm going to make the width of this 8 pixels wide and 1,000 pixels. That's 10 inches tall by tiny little sliver wide, and I'll say OK to that. And I'm zoomed way out. It's at 33% now. Taking the bucket and filling it with gray. And I may have to zoom in just to be able to fill it. There we go. Because it's background, I can't bevel and emboss it, so I can double click the background layer, rename it 0. Now I took the lock away, hit Effects button. It's just below the screen here, and I'm hitting bevel and emboss. And I'll leave the default on for this one. So Control 0. And layer flatten. I guess it's already flattened, but I don't want to save those effects, so I just flattened it to make it into the background, and then I can save it as a JPEG. Line 7. Okay, and back to Dreamweaver. Click on the box and find line. Okay, so File, Save. It's already been named Index. And under the page properties, let's name the website here. Title. Instead of your website being called Untitled Document, let's just call it Jnevins Photography. For now. I'm not really naming this, but I'm just making up a name, so OK to that. And let's File, Preview in Browser right here with Chrome. And it is previewed on another tab. I'll just drag that in just so you can see it. Oops. And it's huge. It's bigger than what you can see. Let me try to minimize this. Anyway, you can see the basics are here. The name, the buttons which aren't linked yet, and the vertical line. And then we need a box in here. So this is a live page. It's not online yet. It's being read off of the C drive, but it's still being seen in Chrome or any browser that you choose. So, okay. So I'm going to pause the video here. This is at 18 minutes, and that's long enough for this one. And I'll see you in the next one.